Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at this teeny tiny little kit here. This is the Handscale Frame Arms Girl Baselard animation color version of it. Now, the Baselard has to be one of the most popular frame arms designs for good reason. It's a really cool design, and now being able to have one that you can work on in such a tiny little scale, it should be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get into it in today's review. Alright guys, starting off taking a look at the box and its contents. We got some very cool artwork here on the front. Obviously it's styled here in your standard Frame Arms Girl style box, except different from the Frame Arms Girls, which normally they're in a pretty static pose on the front. She's in this very dynamic kind of pose there with the weapons and reaching out and everything like that. It's a very cool illustration here on the front. You do also have a photograph of the kit showing it in actual size at 82 millimeters in height, so it's going to be pretty small here, and as you guys can see here from just the size of this box in general, it's not very big, so it's a pretty small box, or a pretty small kit, with it being hand scale of course. On the top and the bottom of the box, we've just got the same artwork there. On the one side, again, just photographs of the kit, front and back, and then without all the equipment and everything on there. On the other side, a photo of the kit here in a kind of action pose, showing a little bit of the articulation. Some face options we've got there. Looks like one is just kind of smiling, looking forward, and one is kind of frowning a little bit and looking off to the side, sort of pouting kind of face. And then we do have some eye decals if you want to change those up. Alright, and opening up the kit, we'll take a look at the runners in just a moment and all of that good stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at the manual here first. Got the same box art there on the front, minus the photograph of the kit there. I like how I have the rifles just floating there on their own. That's very cool. On the back side, just the logos. On the inside, we've got our parts list right here, and then just the construction of the kit there basically. And it's obviously not a very big kit, so not gonna be having a ton of parts, but then here at the back we do also have our color guide. That's right there for you. And then a decal guide, which is basically just for the eyes, and just reference photos there of the kit. So that's basically it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the runners. Starting off with our pre-printed faces. As you guys can see, they're very small, but the quality looks quite nice for these. For the size of what they are, they definitely look very good. Just like with a full-size kit, we've got a hand tree here giving us hand parts for closed fists, open resting hands, open expressive hands, and holding hands. We've got an A runner here, which is going to be a clear stand for that. That should be very nice. Our other A runner is going to be a bunch of the white parts for the kit, which does look to be in a little bit of a warm white color. Same thing with runner B here as well. Runner C is in a light beige color there. It looks like mostly for the hair, and then these thruster parts on the back of the shoulders, it looks like probably. Runner D is going to be our skin tone color parts for the kit, including your extra faces. If you want to make a custom face with the waterslide decals, you can use those. Runner E is in a very interesting metallic injected color, kind of warm silver color. It's very nice. Runner G here is going to be that dark brown color used for the legs. Runner H is going to be a slightly purple tinted dark gray color here for the rifles and some weapons, equipment parts there on the kit. And lastly, runner I is going to be in a warm gray color for some more of the mechanical parts. Alright guys, so here's the kit all put together. Obviously not going to be having quite as much detail and color separation as what you have with the full-size version of it, but there is quite a lot of detail and color separation and articulation built into a very small kit here, as you'll see in just a moment as we take a look at it in closer detail. But it's a great looking kit, albeit very, very small. And to give you an idea of just how small I mean, here it is compared with a 1/144 scale Gundam model kit, so you can see it's barely coming up to the waist of like your standard size HG. But like I said, size doesn't necessarily take a whole lot away from this kit as far as what you can do with it, because there is still a lot of articulation in there in the middle section here, in the waist section, almost all the same articulation that you have with the full size version of it. You have here, at least in the main body of the girl here, of Baselard. Albeit with my very large hands and fingers, it is a little bit difficult to do. But I think probably moving this actually around with like a pair of tweezers would be a little bit easier for actually posing the kit. But you do have a lot of very nice articulation here in the kit, in the main body itself. You can't bring the leg up quite as much as you can on the full-size version here at the hip, but you can still get a really nice knee bend there, even with separation of that knee armor as well, which is pretty impressive again at this size. And with the foot down here, the ankle moves up and down, not side to side though, so only up and down. But as you saw just a minute ago, it can stand on its own, so you don't necessarily need the stand. I said we do of course have that, and it will definitely come in handy. As you can see, it plugs onto there, not with a straight peg, but on a small little ball joint on there. That's going to actually plug right up into this back, like kind of thruster bell detail up in kind of the backpack. And speaking of the backpack, of course you have lots of articulation with this here as well, multiple points of articulation between these sections here. The rifles, just like with the full-size version, those rifles can be taken off and handheld. And here on one of the mechanical arms, you've got this kind of cannon style accessory weapon here, and on the other one, this different styles kind of sword cannon weapon. I don't know exactly, but a different style weapon here on the other side. Now this is not articulated like it is on the full-size one. You can open this up and make it sort of like a claw. You can't do that with this one. And with the full-size version, you can make these mechanical hands actually hold the rifles as well. Now these ones don't as they are, but what you do have with your accessories is a pair of like kind of typical frame arms looking style hands that you can swap out. So if you wanted to have these mechanical arms holding a pair of the rifles as well, you have a set of these holding hands for the left and right side. And then for the Baselard herself, you have holding hands for her and a couple other option parts. And speaking of the option parts, because all the option parts for this kit are so small, I recommend you guys get some of these little baggies. I use these a lot all the time for all my different kits, but especially for a kit like this with a bunch of really teeny tiny accessories, really good thing to have. You have these little peg adapter pieces here, and what these are meant to do is you can plug this into the side, and what that's going to give you is your standard 3mm size attachment point that then you could plug other different MS2 weapon option parts or whatever else you might want to plug onto here. You can use now using this attachment like a peg adapter piece there. And I said before the base uses a little ball joint. You do have a different piece for that with just a straight peg. If you did want to use that, it's just for this kit, you can use this ball joint one. And that's because if you opt to have the backpack off, you have a couple options for the bunny tail on the back. You have just this regular one, which will plug onto there like that, just this little kind of circular ball thing. Or you have another one that's a little bit larger, and that's because you can actually then plug this onto the action base by plugging it into the back of this little tail there out the backside. As for other hand options, you have these open expressive hands. For your alternate face, you have this kind of worried face. Then our only other option parts are just going to be a set of unarmored legs here, complete with little high-heeled shoes on there to kind of complete the look, so you can just swap out the leg really easily here. And just like with the full-size version, the length of the leg is going to differ substantially between which version of the leg you end up using, the robot one or the unarmored version of them. But so you got some really nice options here with this. And again, the color separation is not going to be what it is on the full-size version, but I mean, most all the detail is there. So if you wanted to go in and paint it up in its accurate colors, all the details are there. All you need to do is just, you know, grab up some paints and grab a little tiny little paintbrush, or, you know, if you really feel super ambitious, I mean, you could try masking that and then, you know, painting everything by airbrush, but I would probably opt to just hand paint everything just for how small everything is. But all the details are there, so if you wanted to make it completely color accurate, you definitely can. But other than that, guys, that's about it here for the Handscale Baselard animation version. It's a really great design, and like I've said before, it's easy to understand why Kotobukiya keeps making many versions of the Baselard in particular. It's just a really cool design with its mechanical parts and just the character design herself. If I had to give you guys a recommendation as to which of the many versions of the Baselard I would recommend, if you had to pick one, it would probably be the Megami Device crossover Baselard animation version. That would probably be the best one. This one I would recommend for you guys if you really want to challenge yourself, like if you really wanted to paint something super tiny. I think it's a cool, interesting little thing, but I think personally, for me, I prefer the larger size ones. This is just a little bit too small. I mean, if you wanted something really tiny to like put on your desk or to put on like your dashboard in your car or something like that, I think that these could be really cool. Albeit a little bit expensive for just a very small little display piece. I mean, if you're a big fan of the character, a big fan of the design, then I think it's definitely a pretty cool little thing to have. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about this? And what do you think about the Handscale line in general? Is it something that you guys are into or not that much, and why? Let me know down in the comment section. Just interested to hear from you guys what you think about the line. And as always, if you're interested in checking out any of these kits or anything else from Kotobukiya, you can check the link to USA Gundam Store down in the video description below. We got all this stuff there for you guys to check out. And if you have any other questions, of course, you guys can let me know down in the comment section below. But until next time, guys, thank you all so much for checking out the video today. If you'd like to also leave a like or subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. But until next time, hope you all have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.